Hello, welcome back. Tonight I will speak about a very special grimoire of mine that I have written called Barbatos. And all my grimoires are inspired by the book of King Solomon called Ars Goetia, or the Lesser Key of Solomon, which is a very beautiful, very important book as well, where it's King Solomon represents the 72 spirits of the Ars Goetia. And my goal or my wish is to write a grimoire for all 72 spirits of the Ars Goetia, and to say Barbatos is one of them. I already have written 12 grimoires, or 12 grimoires for 12 spirits of the Ars Goetia, and of course I will continue in my lifetime to write a grimoire for all 72 spirits of Ars Goetia, which I will do, of course, and say, well, there is a special connection that I have to each spirit, and every time I write a grimoire for them, they become part of my identity. They give me something, or I learn something, or something is expressed that somehow carries me to another world, carries me to a deeper or higher type of understanding. And it is something so beautiful that I can only express that is something beyond knowledge. It is something beyond human comprehension, no? And say, well, we do speak about magical beings, we do speak about spirits, we do speak about things that are somehow in the shadow or in the dark, things that are unseen or seen by very few. And that makes it, of course, very, very special. But that's not the meaning behind it, no? To say, well, that's the only thing that makes it special. Because when one will read a grimoire of mine, we'll understand that, of course, it carries a story, it carries something deep and something beautiful, no? That it is to be considered by us as well. And the Grimoire of Barbatos, to say, well, it is interesting as well, because I almost forgot, about him, even if, to say, I know how important he is, and I want to create a playlist for him as well, where I talk about him in detail for different recordings, that one can somehow create a story around Barbatos, and one can create a deeper understanding, a connection to him as well. This is something that I think Barbatos does want to share with us. And if we start with his name, I always analyze the name of my characters, of my grimoires, or of the spirits. They're all from Ars Goetia. And from my work as a writer, I create for each one a separate book, for each one, where they speak, they converse, they express themselves in a way, that we are able to learn, we are able to understand, and we are able to have a deeper understanding or a deeper dive in their subjects as well, which I find very interesting. So the name Barbatos, if we analyze the name, we have Barbatos, we have 3 syllabs, and then we have the letter B that repeats itself, Barbatos, 2 times. Then we have the letter A, which repeats itself as well 2 times. Then we have the letter R, Bar, and then we have B again, and A again, and then we have the T, then we have O and S. To say, well, Barbatos is a hidden name. It is something that is hidden. Everything about Barbatos is connected to secret, or secrecy, or secrets, or something that you say, well, it is not given to anyone, or if to someone, then for a very specific reason. So everything about Barbatos has a specific meaning or a specific reason. But in general, everything about him is surrounded by secrecy, something secret, which of course makes it very interesting as well, To say, well, Barbatos is a character who moves between shadow and light. He's a character that expresses himself through silence. He's a character who does not need to be seen, to be felt as the wind. We say we are not able to see the wind, but we are able to feel it. We say well, wind is a synonym of Barbatos, and all the expression of that wind, so well, how the wind can be, sometimes it's soft, sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's warm, sometimes it's cold, We say well, the wind too has a lot of contradictory elements and shows different aspects of himself. That's how Barbatos is as well. We say well, if one tries to understand Barbatos, has to understand the wind, what the wind is, how the wind speaks, how the wind moves, how the wind exists, how the wind communicates, how the wind feels, what is the element of the wind. And so well, Barbatos is magician of the north. That's how he presents himself in the Ars Goetia as well, and in my grimoire. And so well, he's magician of the north, and most importantly, he's a dark magician. And a dark magician means that it's almost like, with like the dark belt. The dark represents the element of the exquisite, element of something perfect, the perfection of being a magician. Is the dark magician, So well, to be a dark magician, you have to conquer the element of the shadow and the element of the light. So well, it's almost like you have the black belt in the magician, as a magician. But finally, it is not about titles, as I've said, Barbatos is hidden. He likes to be hidden. He does not show himself. It's not about him boosting his ego or recognition about who he is. It's actually the opposite of that. And for me too, it's almost like I'm searching in the darkness when I think of him, and he shows himself to me very, very little and only for a very short second, or he shows me very wild type of like north type of landscapes where there's a lot of snow or ice, and just like a very wide type of landscape where there are some trees, very open space. There is an openness that comes to Barbatos as well. It's not that everything is closed, but he does not show himself. It's almost like I'm able to see through his eyes. So I do know he's a traveler. He does travel, and he enjoys that element of freedom that in general all of the spirits of Ars Goetia, they're all about freedom, they're all about self-expression, it's all about empowerment, it's all about secrecy or magic, or the element of, they all have their own domain, and they are very different from one another. That's why if one starts to read a grimoire, we'll want to read a second one or a third one, because it is that interesting as well. Each character are, of course, very unique in their domain, in their appearance, in their name, in their character, in their powers, in their abilities. Everything is very different. So every time I touch upon a new spirit from the Ars Goetia, it is a new thematic for me. I don't repeat the same steps. It's always very different. And going back to Barbatos, I think he is he's a solitary traveler. You say, well, even that has a meaning, Say, well, it is almost to say that connection that he has with nature, and with that element of freedom, the element of the wind, or the element of the sun, everything what nature represents. It is such a sacred connection that Barbatos has. It is his home, And to say he does not ever want to be out of that. It is his world, it is his place, it is his, it's nothing strange when I say he enjoys his solitude, But it's not only that he enjoys his solitude, there is a reason for that solitude. We say Barbatos is on a special mission, or he has a special goal, or to say, well, if one is a dark magician or is a magician of the north, we can imagine, say, well, what type of magic or what type of powers or what type of abilities Barbatos has. And to say, well, magician or dark magician has to almost say there's a connection to the metals that he has. There's a connection to metals, to gold or silver, with strong metals. In the same time, he has a connection to liquids like water, or different type of liquids, or different type of stones, or different type of crystals, or different type of almost like in the kimi, you have all different powders or the different colors or different substances that he mixes or he is able to create something with. So it is that element of alchemy, And so a magician is able to he knows the element of alchemy, is master over that power as well. At the same time, it's like, well, it does sound very powerful, and Barbatos is very powerful. But at the same time, his personality is very, almost to say, shy, or there's a sweetness to Barbatos, there is a gentleness to Barbatos. You say, well, he is very highly intelligent. At the same time, there's something very childlike about him, very, we could even say a little suspicious or something, different or strange, in his way to relate to humans. There's almost like an interest that he has, but he always hides, like he does not want us to know that he's looking. At the same time, we are able to see him a little bit, but then he hides himself back. There's a shyness that comes to him when it comes to thematic of humans. I don't know exactly why, but it's almost like he feels that maybe his world with our world is so different, or we should not combine those elements, or just, I cannot really explain it, but it's how I see him. Sometimes he's showing himself, sometimes not, or he just likes to hide. That could be too a part of his personality as well, This like a little joke, or there's a little fun part that comes to Barbatos as well. He is represented as a young man. He is not tall, he's slim, like he has a slim figure, very young. He is young, looks young as well. On the cover of my book, on the Grimoire, we're able to see Barbatos. We say, well, he has a very eccentric style, or a very specific style, the way he dresses himself, the way he shows himself, And I know there's something young about him. There's something about him still learning, or him still has desire or this pleasure of still finding things that he does not know yet. So, well, if Barbatos was to know everything, he would be already like very fat or very different. But he's the opposite. It's almost like he gives the impression he does not know much, and he's so young and he's still learning. But of course, from his representation, I know that Barbatos is actually a very important character, a very important spirit as well. So, well, Magician of the North is already a high honor, or high altitude that we are talking about. And from all the spirits, the book of my first grimoire, called King Payment, is the Magician of the West. And Barbatos is the Magician of the North. So I have these two in the grimoires that I have written on so far. But there's the Magician of the South or the Magician of the East I didn't write yet about. So it's like we have the West and we have the North. So there is some type of connection between two as well. To say to the element of King Payment, of course, very different. Magician of the West represents the sun, and the Magician of the North represents more the cold element of nature, like the snow, the ice, the metal, which is cold, something like that. At the same time, of course, the metal is connected to the sun as well, or the gold is connected. So I think there is a connection between Barbatos and King Payment as well. The thematic of the Grimoire of Barbatos, or what he speaks about in the Grimoire, the Grimoire opens with the first word, which is silence. He appears in silence, in total silence. Silence is very, very important when it comes to Barbatos. We say, well, if it is not silent, Barbatos is not there. He only stays in silence. And that silence is necessary for him to appear. There is need of a certain very, very specific atmosphere or place or energy, or, as I've said, silence and other elements for Barbatos to be able to appear. He does not appear rarely, and if he does, the element of silence has to be there. It's almost like there was nothing, there's silence, and then finally a door opens and Barbatos appears. It's very unexpected almost. And the thematic is about the 8 gates that Barbatos speaks about in his grimoire. They say the 8 different gates. And so the first gate is patience, the second gate is, wheel. I describe them, all the different ones in the grimoire. And then he says the 8th gate is him. It is Barbatos. And he says that very few pass and very few remain. It is very special, the 8th gate that represents Barbatos. It is a special gate that he is, so to say, the protector of, or the one that guards that gate as well. No, say, well, it is Barbatos' gate, and that it is sealed by him. He does not allow anyone to enter there, and if only few. Him to say that there is a certain need of growth, or certain need of many things that one is able to reach and enter the 8th gate. It is, of course, speaks about knowledge, no? And to say, well, what is knowledge? And say, well, knowledge is books, and knowledge is experience, and knowledge is this and that, no? But to say, well, in a way not, because knowledge, like real knowledge, it is something that is found within. It is not something that is found outside. So I think the 8 gates speaks about that inner, there's something about the inner knowledge, or something about the inner journey. No, so well, the Barbatos is very much about that, because he is on his inner journey. He is on his inner persona. No, the Barbatos is sufficient to himself. There is a certain honor, a certain pride that comes with that as well, no? To say there is a certain level of mastership as well that one can find in silence. And for me, silence and knowledge are synonyms. There is no knowledge without silence. Knowledge comes from silence. They are brother and sister. And say, well, silence has a lot of value. And this comes in most of the grimoires, or the more deeper ones. They all speak about silence. Was that King Payman too? The book is called King Payman, the Lord of the Endless Silence. He represents the endless silence, no? And to say, well, of course, King Payman is a higher rank in the position that he carries, but that's not to say that the other spirits are less, no? So they each have their own domain, their own power, their own ability, and they guard that place as well. So it is not allowed for everyone to enter. It is not possible for everyone to enter. It is sometimes not even found by others. They don't even know about it, no? This element of secrecy, as I've said. It's almost like you have a question, and then when you come back, when it comes to Barbatos, it will always be the element of secrecy, the element of silence, no? Say the shh. It's like, it's a secret, no? It's the hush. Don't speak, don't say it, no? It's very much Barbatos. It speaks about that inner understanding that you can receive from your inner guidance, or the inner journey of your oneself, that has nothing to do with the outer world. It is an inner discovery, inner journey, an inner type of knowledge that Barbatos works so deeply. It's almost like the gold that is under the earth, no, that value that is under the dirt. It's under the earth, no? So, well, I don't want to say that earth is dirt, because earth is very beautiful, but it's that element that is found, something valuable is found, but it will not exist without the element of the earth. The element of the earth is even higher than the element of the gold, because the element of the gold is created in the element of the earth. To say, well, we see gold more valuable because it's more rare, but earth is the real value, no? So, from which thing one comes, it is from this, well, this one has more higher value. No, because it is created due to this element, otherwise it will not be created, no? So to say, well, gold is earth. It's the same, it's just a different evolution, it's just something, different chemicals, compounds, or different things happen, no? chemically, or the weather, the sun, everything that happened, the water, everything, that time, that, it's created something that it was created from earth, no? It was creating a new element. It's the element of alchemy. And that is the element, the domain of Barbatos. And say, well, if we think of those elements, it is a metaphor too for the things that we too as humans are able to learn from, or with, or within. Does not matter. There are always different perspectives, different deep depths, or different altitudes that one can learn. I can learn on a altitude, or I can learn something in a deeper meaning. I have to go in something deeper. It's almost like I go under the earth. I have to dig something, or it's almost like I fly over something landscape and it shows me something and I'm able to see. It is connected to feeling. It is connected to emotion. It is connected as well. Relearning is connected to emotion. I think Barbatos has like a big heart. Is very sensitive. He works on emotions as well. He knows the value of emotion. And I do find Barbatos very, very special and very, very beautiful. I cannot almost describe. It's almost like a beauty that I'm able to understand. It's that innocence, or something about childhood, when you play hide and seek with a girl or a boy that you like, and it's that element of the eyes. It is some type of sweetness to him as well. And I love that contrast, that he's a dark magician. He has to look like this, or he has to be covered in black and look very fierce and very angry, and and he's the opposite of that. And I really, really love that about him. He's almost so connected to all the elements of nature, the element of earth, the element of wind, the element of the trees, the element of the animals. He is that is Barbatos. He is connected especially to wood, forest, and everything that is found there, from all the fauna, all the animals, all the trees, all the plants, all the rivers, all the earth. It is Barbatos. This is the domain of Barbatos, very much connected to element of nature, And of course, they say, well, of course, a dark magician, And to say, well, as I've said, a true magician is dark, is the element of the dark, And one has to somehow learn and discover that for himself, what that means, what a dark magician truly means. And one can learn that only from Barbatos, the true way to be a dark magician, To say, well, the dark magician knows that from the darkness goodness comes. That a dark magician knows that from that nothingness of something dark, from a dark soil or something without light, life is formed. It is a paradox, but it's true. It is the evolution of life, And to say, well, how from a place there is no light, from a place that is under the earth, from a place that almost like impossible as something grows and it's magnificent, something large, something strong, something beautiful, something golden, whatever element we're thinking about is able to grow in the darkness, So well, a lot of different elements have to come in that place so something can be grown, And that element of darkness is the first element that has to be there so something can grow. And then of course other things come, through time and so on and so forth. And then, there's a certain process that happens, a chemical process, different ways, So it's very much connected to biology, chemistry, nature, evolution, element of life, the element of death as well. When we speak about life, it's the element of death, or the element of rebirth as well. And so the element of death is synonym to rebirth in a different way. So nothing is the same. We are never the same. We change every second. The same does not exist anywhere. There's always a little difference in everything, But the element of death is connected to rebirth. It's just a different form. So we say, well, it is the element of the dark magician. We say, well, Barbatos does carry that power. I know that, So you see that contrast that comes. It is a play of light and shadow. It's like the mastership over light and shadow is what makes a magician be a dark magician. No? So if I said, if you are not a dark magician, you are not a magician. No. So the element of Barbatos speaks about something very low, or something very deep, at the same time something very high, on a high altitude. It's the element of the contrast as well. And the grimoire has around 200 pages. So, well, somehow I wish I wrote it longer, but that's the way it was supposed to be. And of course I invite my readers to read the Grimoire of Barbatos and, as I say, get that wisdom and get that feeling, no, that Barbatos expresses in that grimoire. And it is a very beautiful meditative process as well in thinking about his thematics and trying to understand Barbatos in a deeper way, in a more true way as well, and I really enjoy it sometimes to dive in the thematic almost blindfolded, because that's where my authentic ideas come to life. I say, well, if I was to prepare it before, it will not be the same, it will not be authentic. So the element of authenticity is very strong when it comes to Barbatos. There's nothing fake about him, there's nothing unworthy about him, there's nothing untrustworthy about him. He is very trustworthy, he is very clear, he is very much about truth, very, very much about clarity, truth, vision, understanding, knowledge, truth, learning that path, or being able to enter through those gates and have that experience, or have that type of knowledge, or have that source of feeling as well. It's very much connected to the element of feeling, And I will, of course, continue to talk even more about Barbatos in different recording. This will be the first one, and I will definitely analyze Barbatos in a very delicate and very precise way, in a more deep way for us as well to understand. And until then, thank you so much for listening. As I've said, I will continue another time. If you want to read the book of Barbatos, the Grimoire of Barbatos, there's a link in the description box with the book. As I've said, it's published in paper, and Barbatos is part of Galactica, which is a digital product. It's a digital collection of my first 11 grimoires. And thank you so much for listening. I will continue another time. All the best until then. Bye.